when Tasia was talking to Corey on the date where it was him and Carrington in the bottom, I could not stop laughing at Corey's faces. The blinks, like, he was looking like, say what now? For real? Like, he was, I don't know if he was shocked or if he was just like, are we doing this again? Okay, so, I got a couple of comments outside of YouTube about my commentary was for this past week of Ready to Love. Episode 3, because they counted that first get to know the cast part as one episode though. So this is episode 3. And I've had a few things that I thought at first that now I'm rethinking. So this episode starts out with them all meeting for a happy hour. And so Tasia shows up first and there's 4 guys there. I think it was Phil, Corey, and was it Dante? Maybe it's 3 guys there. Okay, so she was like, bet, let me just get my drink and let me ask these Bammers right now, what was up? Why was I in the bottom? She came right out the gate. Like, I respected that. Like, yeah, I would want to know too, like, what's up? The deal. And so they all whatever. So they all gave their reasons. They all start having, conversation, and then people start to arrive to the happy hour. Tommy comes in, and they got to make these connections. Now, at this point, I do believe that, like with anything else, half of them are there for real, and there's some, fillers in it. So I'm calling this episode the I Want to Sex You Up episode because everybody was just talking about sex. When we're watching these shows, we have to keep in mind that the part that we're seeing is the part that was deemed the best by whoever was editing this thing, right? Because the double dates that they went on, who knows how long they were on those double dates. They could have been out there for 2 hours, and this is the conversation that we had. So the conversation, I have to think that the part of the conversation that was interesting was the sex part with all of them. That's just how I'm gonna go with that, because I don't think they just sat down and just started talking about sex. You know what I'm saying? You go to dinner, the drinks start flowing, the conversation just kind of escalates, and when you have multiple personalities, it can go anywhere. So I think that they just gave us that portion because that probably was the most interesting. So, I'm not mad at that, though. I'm not mad at it even going there, because the thing is, if it's a dating show and they are getting eliminated, they don't know how long they would have to have these conversations with these specific people. So I'm all for the bluntness and putting it out there. I'm all for putting the topics on the table. Now, will I answer every question? Maybe not. Tasia was like, I'm not telling y'all the freakiest place that I've ever had sex with. I kind of feel her on that, because that's really not important to the building of a relationship. We don't have to even talk about that. But it's cool to sit there and listen to where everybody would go. But they on a mission for these connections, okay? The other double date with Walter, Camille, Courtney, and Cornelius. I liked Camille last week, and I'm not going to say I don't like Camille now, but I still think she's funny as I know what. But now I'm just like, girl, you have to stop what you're doing. I thought you were playing, but you are serious. You invited Walter out on a date with Cornelius and Courtney because you wanted to see how Cornelius was going to act with Courtney. And no, no ma'am, no. Right then and there, I was just like, okay, I still think she's funny, but I think some of the funny, now I'm concerned because she's actually serious. All of y'all are here to meet multiple people and date multiple people, so you can't come on there and do that. But part of me feels like, last season when Vernisha and Joelle were on there, Vernisha pretty much came and claimed Joelle. She was like, he's my number one all day, every day, right? And I think that Camille was trying to do something like that, but no, you're not Vernisha and he's not Joelle. So, and even that didn't kind of all the way stick, but I think that's what that reminded me of. But she's going, she's committed. You know what I'm saying? And Cornelius is not a bad guy, but I think that you set yourself up when you went on that double date because you already know how you feel about him, and you are forcing another situation that you didn't even have to witness. Like, you just put yourself through that for nothing. And then poor Walter was just like, why am I here? Anyway, I know some of this is probably for like entertainment as well. Even in that conversation, I believe that sex before marriage topic should be on the table. Who knows how long any of y'all are gonna be here. So, but I feel like Courtney and Walter were being completely real. I mean, people like to hear you say, oh, I want to wait for marriage, I'm going to do this. But, like, realistically, everybody doesn't think like that. So, you do need to figure out which side you're on if you're going to try to be in a serious relationship. Because if y'all are on two different pages, that's not going to work. Then I saw Zadia and Tyrone go out on a date. And I think that, I thought they looked good together. I think they had a little bit of a connection. He was telling her about his PTSD, and she is a physical trainer, so she knows a little bit about breathing and things like that. She could probably help him with some of his anxiety things or whatever by working out. I don't know. I mean, that might be a good match. The only thing that I didn't like about Tyrone and Zadia's date was that Zadia put her purse on the ground. No, ma'am. Do not do that. Okay, Carrington and Aisha's date. Man, I thought I was trying to give Carrington a chance, and I did not want to prejudge him, but I thought that he had that dick face. Like, he comes across to me as one of those pretentious dudes that, you know, always be trying to act like they the shit and they got connections and they're doing this and they're doing that. He just looked like he seemed like an asshole to me, but I didn't want to say it at first. However, I'm confidently saying it in this episode, in this recap of this episode, because not only was he sitting there sweating like a whore in church when he was on a date with Aisha, I think she had very good discernment on that day. She asked all the questions she needed to ask, and I feel like she was able to get a clear understanding, like, I'm going to go ahead and cross him off, right? So after that, when I heard what Sabrina said, that he said to her on the phone, I was like, sir, no, sir. You are not, no, sir. Bye. So I feel like he needed to go home because you are here for a dating show and you have multiple different women and people that you're trying to make connections with. You do not need to come off with a dick about something like that. Like, anyway, bye, Carrington. Not mad about that one. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Sabrina was on the phone with him, and they were having a conversation, and I guess age came up, and his response to her was like, well, I'm not going to go back and forth with you about this. If you can't handle it, blah, blah, blah. Some kind of arrogant response or asshole-ish response like that. Like, I'm out. I'm good. Peace. I don't even... Anyway, one thing that I do want to say that I feel about this season is that there are a nice number of women who are, you know, into mental health and just mindset and not looking for superficial stuff. I do like that. I like where some of their heads are at regarding that. It's probably going to take us a while to figure out what the dudes are on because... You know, last week I was laughing at Corey. Now, last week I already thought that, you know, maybe he is supposed to play this character. Maybe instead of a casting call for a person looking for love, maybe he got a casting call for an actor to play a role, right? I don't know. I may be jumping all the way out the window here, but I'm just not getting genuine, unfortunately. And it's like, but I do feel like he should have stayed over Carrington this week because, no. But his date with Mumin, right? That was funny, and I realized if this is Corey's true persona, Corey just does not have any game. That is it. I mean, he does not, it's like he's the awkward dude, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That's okay because how he got the date with Moomin was that she had a flat tire, which I'm not sure if production flattened her tire, so somebody could go change it. But he changed her tire in the middle of DC streets after the mixer, and so that kind of opened her up to have a date or whatever. And so like an awkward dude would have to get in that way, like they have to wait for an opportunity to help you or whatever, because they don't shine at the conversation or opening lines and things like that. That is one of the ways that an awkward dude can get in for a date, as we saw. So they went on a date, and okay, so if y'all don't know either, he has an Instagram that's called The First Date King, and he did a whole bunch of first dates. He also has a podcast where he talks about things from profiles and stuff like that. Like, it is really interesting because a lot of people don't understand how to get on the first date, but you do have to practice getting to the second date. But anyway, so he goes on a date, right? And they seem like they had a good time, but he does little corny, awkward things that just kind of, Corey just has no game, y'all. That's it. I mean, I think that he's cool. I think that he's nice. I think that if he could get somebody to help him open up, I think that he'll be good, because he just has no game, y'all. So I'm no longer laughing at you, Corey. I'm just, what I'm saying? So one of the other interesting things about the show that I want to point out, that it's obvious, but you have to keep reminding yourself of this. Like, in the real world, when you meet a person, right? You say you go out one weekend and you meet 5 guys or 5 girls, and you get all of their numbers, right? They are not going to be in a room somewhere talking about you or how they feel about you with each other. It's just not going to happen unless they're all related or something. Like, in the real world, all of your prospects are not linking up together and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so they won't be able to compare anything that you're saying or whatever. This situation is for people who are smooth talkers. Like, this situation is not for people who are awkward, as we can see, because Christian got voted off last season because he was shy, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so anybody who has that awkwardness, it kind of messes them up in these situations or whatever. But I think that once they actually realize it, then they can figure out what to do. Like, you don't want to say the same thing to everybody. You don't want to, talk about somebody to everybody. Okay, that brings me to the conversation at the women's wine bar where they were talking about Tyrone calling Shiloh regarding Carrie. Now, I do agree with Carrie that you should not have been having that conversation with anybody else. You should have been having that conversation with me. Again, he's not thinking about the fact that all of these people that you're prospecting are going to be talking about you at some point. So it's going to come up, like what you're talking about when you say something about somebody else. Like, that's the part that's like, why aren't y'all thinking about that? It's mainly the men though, but anyway, I think that he may have called Shiloh because she's an intimacy coach. She may have made him feel comfortable enough to share, and that was the only person he could reach out to in this moment. I don't think she was saying it maliciously. I think that she felt like she had to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, it is what it is. At least he did say something to her eventually about it, because whether he talked to Shiloh or not, I think that after he talked to her, he should have definitely talked to her. She was still going to be mad that he didn't come to her first, but he should have told her before she got to the table and found out like that. Like, bruh. Also, dating in the city is different than when they make you stay in one house or be on a resort. If you were only able to talk and mingle with those people, it would be a little bit different than dating in the city and y'all get to meet up and stuff like that. So I guess this is where all the double dates and things are coming up and stuff like that. So I don't know. I still think it's interesting because in the real world, you're not going to be secluded away from everybody else. So while you're talking to somebody, it is usually whoever they're talking to in the background. You just don't get to talk to them in a room every week about what they're saying. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's why. I guess that's what makes it also interesting. So this week, my top 3 men and top 3 women has changed a little bit. And so for my women, I still like Sabrina. I like Aisha. When I saw her on the date with Carrington, I feel like I got to know her a little bit more after she told a little bit of her story and the questions that she asked him. And I like her. I like her energy. I really do. And then the third girl, like, I still like Courtney. I feel like I got to know her a little bit better too, but I kind of like, it was a toss up when I was trying to narrow it down to 3 between her and Shiloh, because I actually like Shiloh as well because she's an intimacy coach in her life, and I like the way that she thinks about stuff. You know what I'm saying? So far, so I guess that's my top 3, but it's really 4. So for the men, I still like Walter. I hope Walter and Sabrina get together because I do think that they have like some energy there. But I like Walter. I also like Cornelius. I like Cornelius. Cornelius is going to be, I didn't really look at him before as much as I did this time. So Walter, Cornelius, and it was so hard to come up with 3 dudes. Like, I had an issue narrowing down to 3 women, but I only got 2 dudes this week. I really can't just be putting nobody in there all willy-nilly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that I don't like Frank this week, but I'm not going to put him in my top 3 this week. And it's probably just because something he did probably just rubbed me the wrong way, but who knows? Anyway, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next. But this week, Harrington's Bama ass had to be out of here, and that was just that. Okay, that was it. Anyway, so I'll be back next Saturday for the next episode recap with my top 3. Hopefully, top 3 dudes too. So anyway. Thank you for watching this video. See you guys later. But I did also notice they used a clip that they used last episode. They used the clip of him saying he was good to go home, he cool to go home or whatever. They used that this episode too. I don't know why they were using clips, but maybe he just said it the same way in the same tone with the same shirt on. I don't know, but I noticed that. Anyway, that was it.